Kailash, and I'm here at the Hub Culture Pavilion in Davos. Very pleased to be joined by Dr. Christie Peacock, the chairman of Sidai Africa. Thank you very much for coming along.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you for asking.
I was just speaking to Mohammed Yunus, who was saying that with the role of the private sector is now generally accepted in terms of achieving the sustainable development goals. How accepted do you feel as a social entrepreneur in your method of investing and building employment, building work is?
I think this is my first time at Davos, and whenever I've introduced myself as a social entrepreneur, people just say, yeah, that's great, and know immediately what it is. Mm-hmm. And I understand from others who've been here in years before that that wasn't the case. Mm-hmm. So I think social enterprise, social business, social entrepreneurship is now kind of not exactly mainstream, but getting more and more mainstream, I think.
Tell me about your specific work and how what you do benefits people.
So what I've done is to build a unique distribution model in Kenya that provides quality inputs and services to small-scale farmers across the country. So we're opening up access to inputs and services in some cases. We're ensuring quality, which is for me is very, very important, quality of inputs, because there's a lot of counterfeit and substandard products in the market. Mm-hmm. So you can imagine if you're a small farmer and you buy some seed and it doesn't germinate, you're really stuck. Mm-hmm. And it's a real challenge for farmers to get inputs that they can rely on. And farmers need inputs to improve the productivity of their land and their crops and their livestock in order to improve their lives, and in some cases, in many cases, to get out of farming. Mm-hmm. So it's a springboard for rural economies to move forward in their economic growth and development. And so for me, I'm providing the essential ingredients and the tools and the knowledge that farmers need to do that.
Tell me your thoughts about supply chain, which has been a big sort of esoteric subject here in Davos, and how are your thoughts on it any different than what you've heard from people, for example, from the north?
I think that's why it's great that people like me can be at a meeting like this, because the discourse here has been very focused from the perspective of businesses in the north, about sourcing from the south. And of course that's very important, but for most countries in the south, that's only a very small part. It's a fraction of their total economy. And there's a lot of south-south trading, and even, of course, the domestic market is very important, and domestic supply chains are crucial. So, for example, in my own business, we are sourcing products from China, we're manufacturing in China, we're manufacturing locally in Kenya. As much as I would like to ensure that my supply chain complies with all sorts of very high labour standards, health and safety, environmental standards, and I do that, and I visited a factory in China that we will be sourcing from, and I could see good environmental standards. The fact remains that people desperately need these goods, and they need them at an affordable price, and so putting layers of costs on top is not helpful for these struggling and emerging economies.
What's next for you?
Next for us is more growth. We're really trying to, in terms of the supply chain, we're trying to build this unique distribution network, which we feel will give us a lot of power.
Why is it unique?
It's unique because the market at the moment is extremely fragmented. So you've got input sellers who are basically, using American English mum and pop stores. Mm-hmm. So little shops, often they're totally unqualified people selling stuff they have no knowledge of. Mm-hmm. So we're building a consolidated and a much more efficient and well-structured supply chain and distribution network going right to the last mile. Consolidating, if you like, the demand, creating more power so that you're getting more margin down at the grassroots, because the margin is really most of the margin is held by the manufacturers and importers. So we're sort of starting from the grassroots, working backwards up the supply chain, rather than being a big multinational company trying to figure out how to distribute into a fragmented and disaggregated market in Africa. And so we feel we will become, and we are becoming, attractive to bigger companies who have quality inputs and unique molecules as well that we would like to bring in. That's the next generation of agrochemicals, more environmentally friendly and so on. and we give them a unique route to market, and they can get their product pretty much anywhere in Kenya within 24 hours through Sidai, but they really struggle to do that any other way.
Thank you very much, Dr. Peacock, for stopping by the Hub Culture Pavilion here in Davos, and I'm Edie Lush.